You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.
I'm gonna live till I die. I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna take the town and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live until I die.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till You Say It's Over. Each week, we celebrate stories of lives well lived. And I am so excited that you have been emailing us, telling us about all your comments and your questions, which we will get to. By the way, I want to thank everyone out there because you have been buying Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life, my book. And I am so excited it's on Amazon. So let me tell you, if you haven't bought it already, here's what you do. You go to Amazon.com and you type in Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life, Pink Lady. Yes, that's all you have to do. It makes a great gift. And by the way, Father's Day is coming. It would make a great gift because we have in it a sexuality chapter that will knock your socks off. Love you to buy it. Thank you so much.
One of the things that we always tell our audiences is if you really love it and you have a comment to make, send it into Amazon, they'll post it. If for some reason you don't, keep it to yourself.
Thank you, Deb. I am so excited. We all have television shows that we watch. And then there are shows that we watch all the time because they become our favorite. Well, this particular show that I adore, Dove loves, is fun, it's exciting. It happens to be one that brings a laugh and a tear. And the combination of that makes it one of the most heartwarming shows on television today. And that show is called Undercover Boss. And with me today, on my left and on my right across from me, are two very handsome gentlemen, Mr. Greg Goldman, who is president of Studio Lonsert, and Rich Leist, who is the casting producer of this fabulous show, which I'm in love with. So let's begin by asking you, Greg, I'm going to say this. You got up in the mornings and you grab a cup of coffee and you look out into the universe. How do you feel knowing that millions of people are watching Emmy award-winning program Undercover Boss, and there you are, smiling and thinking, what?
First off, thanks for having us, Pink Lady,
I am
Chaplain
excited.
Dove. Rich and I are so
Thank
excited
you.
to be here.
Thank
This
you.
is amazing.
Thank you.
What do I feel as I'm having my coffee? I am a coffee drinker.
Good. I knew that. I could tell.
Have you been
yeah.
following us?
Yeah.
So it's a very, very rewarding show to do. We feel extremely lucky to be able to make it for our great partners at CBS. It's one of those rare shows where you get to change people's lives in a very positive way. There's a lot of shows on TV, a lot of, everything is entertaining. There's so many options. There's so many places to watch television. But we feel like this show is obviously very, very unique because of, there's a couple things happening. One, you've got a CEO or a boss going undercover,
Right.
living a life that he or she is not used to living, being on the front lines, working all different types of jobs throughout the company that they don't normally get to work and really get to experience what life is like. And then on the flip side, you get to hear these incredible stories of the American worker who's largely unheard and largely underappreciated. and for the CEO to interact with people that he normally wouldn't, or she normally wouldn't interact with,
Right.
And then reward them in a way at the very end of the show. There's nothing, that's more fulfilling than that. And again, especially we live in this crazy politically charged climate right now. I think we can all agree, that the American worker should be celebrated, and that's what our show's all about.
Well, it's funny. I negate this, it's probably the wrong word. I take this program and think about the past, like many, many, many centuries ago, about the knights in shining armor around, what is it, King Arthur's men around the table there, and then they do a good deed, and then the king knights them. Well, to me, the people that we discover through your program, they're loyal, they're trustworthy, they're caring individuals who want to do good, and they have lives sometime that are interfering because they can't give their all to their particular job. And to me, it's like a finding a gold mine in these people where you would never know, the boss would never know what these people are like or what their lives are like. And that, I think, is one of the best things on your show, finding that. How did you get into producing television?
I'm going to throw to Rich first, and then I'll get into it.
You're going to throw Rich?
Yeah, he's going to throw me.
He's a pretty big
Throw me
guy.
out of the brim so I can take it off.
Easy, gently.
Yeah.
I adore him. Go ahead.
I got into producing, I think it was 2001, and I started on a show called The Weakest Link. And I was on The Weakest Link, and I got hired for a day, and I haven't stopped ever since. I was brought in really quick. They were like, "We need somebody," and I was like, I really wanted to get into TV, and I said, I'll do anything. I'll take out the trash or anything. And they said, we're going to hire you for one day on Tuesday. Okay. Came in on a Tuesday, and they're like, we want you on Wednesday. And I said, okay, I'll come on Wednesday. And then it turned to Thursday, and then I've been, knock on wood, I've been blessed enough to keep going in the business. So I started off as most people start off as a production assistant, and I kind of went through all the different departments and found where my niche was. Where I really excelled was in casting, which is talking to people, like talking to these workers or talking to undiscovered talent, and figuring out their story and really kind of diving in and figuring out, what people like you want to watch on TV.
Right.
Yeah, what's gonna be the best to put on, major networks. So I've been fortunate enough that I've worked for CBS, I've worked for Fox, ABC, NBC. I've done all the major networks, and
you're almost like a psychiatrist. I mean,
yeah. In a way,
really, right?
In a way, that's kind of a lot of casting people are kind of psychiatrists, because you have to know how to talk to anybody. You have to know how to talk to a veteran, or you have to know how to talk to a 5-year-old, and get them to open up to you. So that's where I got my start.
And when you're looking for people for, say, Undercover Boss, what characteristics does that particular person need for your show? I mean, other shows, they need different things. What do they need mostly for yours?
In this season of Boss, it's Celebrity Undercover Boss. So what we're really looking for is people who have talent but haven't been given an opportunity. Are hardworking people who just haven't had, whether it's the means to do it, or haven't been put in front of the right people to get to accomplish what they want, to get to kind of help them with their dream. While we can't give them their dream, well, we can't say, okay, you're a top, you're now a part of the top 100 artists in America. We can help propel them. We can put them in the right place so that they know what to do. So we're not essentially handing them the grand prize and the lifetime dream, but we're putting them in front of the right person or the right people to help launch them. And they have to have the right work ethic.
And they have the opportunity to win that prize.
Yes.
Pink Lady has been producing musical, as you know, for the last 13, 14 years. And some of the people who have been on this show and will be on the show appeared in those shows.
Yeah.
And so she encouraged them and gave them opportunities to sing. And casting directors are always invited to the audience, and they get jobs, and they join SAG, and we have one fellow who did a Disney movie, and then he got a SAG card, and now
and he had
he's
never
got a
sung
career.
before except at his church, or at like benefits and stuff like that. So you're giving these people who always wanted to do something, but because of circumstances in life, could not do it.
Yes.
And where did you get your training, Rich? I mean,
where did I get my training? I actually used to perform 20 years ago. I performed. And
you look like
I
you're
traveled
18.
around.
I mean, both
Thanks.
of you guys.
Yeah, 20 years.
I said that to them, everyone. I said, he looks like 18. He looks like 20. You know? But
I'll take 20. You got to follow us around all the time. Make us feel great. All right.
I'm sorry.
So I think that was kind of the launching pad for me. Is 20 years ago, I traveled around the U.S. and I used to perform in all these different towns. And I stayed with people all around America. And so I really got to know what all the different parts of America and the counterculture and the subcultures of what we have. And that, I think that's a big part of my job, is because of that, because of going to these different places and small towns. I learned to talk to those people and
the heart of America.
Yeah, the heart of America.
I'm going to throw a couple of your programs to you.
Go for it.
And ask you to give us some feedback. We have been a fan of the show for a long time. We didn't know you at that time when you started, but we watched the Menchie's episode with Amit Kleinberger. And just as an aside, yesterday, not knowing Amit, we made a phone call to their corporate office, and we left a message, and we said, "I'd like you to call us if you would. We're going to mention you on the show because we saw what you did, opening up hundreds, I think it's 500 locations, and now they're opening Dimitri Pizza.
Right.
And there's another 500. I mean, okay, so we talked, and Amit called us back last night, and we talked. I mean, people are approachable.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your experience with his company, with Menchie's frozen yogurt. There was a program we saw about waste recycling.
I love
Waste
that
management.
one. Love
Yeah,
that one.
and
oh my God.
the fellows drive up in their trucks. A lady comes out, gets in, drives it in. They unload. She's she's running all the equipment herself. We saw the one about the campground. And the people that along the way, instead of just going from A to B, the driver would stop, make sure they had ice, make sure that everything was working.
Right.
I mean, people care.
Yes.
And the best part for us is when you see, number one, the undercover boss comes down the stairs in their home, and the kids and the wife are in shock because he doesn't look anything like their father and husband.
The wig.
Right.
I'm not quite sure about the wigs, but the wig.
Yeah, and the other one is people who have kids, or they've had medical situations, and the bosses set up college funds or make donations to charities. I mean, some of them really get you.
Now, are there guidelines that you have that, for instance, when you're talking to some of these corporate people, are there guidelines about what they give, what they don't give? I mean, is there something?
That's a great question. So when we contact these companies, everybody's a bit skeptical. They're very nervous about,
when did you first start this?
The show just started. We're in season 9 right now. The show first started in 2010. Premiered right after the Super Bowl. I think we got 38.7 million people watching the show,
Lord.
falling in love. That was the waste management.
That's
episode.
almost as many as we have watching the show. And when they heard you were going to be on, the numbers went right through the roof.
Oh my God.
Nielsen's calling right now.
There they
It's
are.
blowing up the system. Early on, as you can imagine, especially in those first couple seasons, it was very, very difficult to get companies to come on board because they didn't really know what the show is. A lot of these are Fortune 500 companies. Is this going to affect the stock price? Are things going to come out? And I learned very early on in my career, it's all about building trust. It's all about building relationships. It doesn't matter if it's a 1 hour of television or 100 episodes of television that you're going to make.
Or 5 minutes.
Or 5 minutes, or doing this show right now.
Thank
You have to build trust. You have to build a rapport, and you have to build a reputation for people knowing that you're going to take care of them.
Yes.
And you're going to make them look great.
Right.
So after the first few people, took that leap of trust, so to speak, it became easier and easier, and especially as episodes started to air. And knowing that no matter what happened, they're going to look great at the end of the day. They're going to have a heart in terms of like specific donations and what they give. there's a certain dollar amount that we
I
recommend.
was going to say, yeah.
But I think, quite honestly, when people go into it, they're not exactly sure how much they're going to give.
I bet they're surprised, too.
And a lot of them,
Yeah.
you know, have had a certain amount of life experiences, and there's something that's very interesting that happens to all of us. Not so much to the two of you. You guys are exceptional. But most people, as they go through life, they become jaded. You experience a lot of things, some good, some bad,
Right.
and you get to a certain point in your life, and it's like, oh, I've seen everything, I've done everything. And that's the great thing about our show and where our show comes in. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really see a part of your company and really go back to the beginning of your career and do things you haven't done.
And really change lives.
And really change lives, and they get caught up in it. I mean, a favorite moment from all the shows we've done, I don't know if you saw this episode, it was the Modell episode with Mitch Modell.
Yes, the sporting goods.
Who's the owner of the sporting goods store. I think they have 150 stores. It was a family business.
Right.
He grew it into, you know, one of the most successful sports franchises in the U.S. today. And he worked with a co-worker named Angel, and she just had such enthusiasm. She was all about taking care of the customers, making everybody that came into the store feel special, and she did an excellent job of training him for the day. And as they sat down afterward and she shared her story, it turned out she was living in a shelter. And he could not believe that an employee of his was living in a shelter.
And doing a fantastic job.
An amazing job and having the best
Right.
attitude, and never bringing any of her personal stuff into the shop. And at the end of the episode, he gave her $250,000 tax-free so she could buy her home, and she broke down, and he broke down, and he's been a permanent part of her life ever since. And it was, I mean, that's what everyone wants and aspires to out of life, and I think that goes to show that, you know, these bosses get really caught up in it and do things that maybe they didn't think they were going to do at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Well,
You had a number of programs where employees who were doing 5-star jobs were driving 2.5 or 3 hours each way because they got into the company. They didn't want to leave. They loved what they did. I remember you had one, there was a couple of months ago, fast food drive-through, and the undercover boss couldn't even make the sandwich, but the person training him was running the place like the top sergeant in the Army. And he just looked back, and she never stopped from the minute the program started to the minute it ended. And that was what she did every day. He couldn't believe the energy level. And she said, okay, I want you to come to corporate headquarters, and we're going to do some training, and we're going to take what you have and share it with everyone. I mean, there's so much good that comes out of this.
And the other thing is that a lot of them, at the end, when you see where they went afterwards, after the program and after they got, you know, their rewards and everything for being, you know, loyal and trustworthy type of people and working for the company, they left and went on their own. And that was an interesting thing for the viewer to see, that, you know what? Life does go on like that.
Right.
Even though they may get a college education, well, wait a minute now. That college education, I mean, say they were working in the waste management, but their college education was to be a dentist or whatever. They leave that particular thing and go on. But the main thing is that you gave them, the boss, gave them the wherewithal to take their life streams and go forward with it.
Absolutely.
And I think the heart of your program is like that.
Yeah.
You know?
What's on the horizon? What you have the 9th season beginning. Can you
Right.
give us, without sharing too much, a couple of incentives for people who may not be watching to turn on the set, because this is what's coming?
Well, before we do that, because
Yeah.
that's like the piece de resistance.
Okay, yeah.
How do you like the way I said the piece de resistance? I want to go to France is what I want to do. Can you make a program we can do something in France? Why did you decide? I mean, you have the undercover boss, and it was going along, and everything is still phenomenal. Why did you decide to do the celebrity version of Undercover Boss? I mean, where did that come from?
Right. Well, it came from two simultaneous ideas kind of combined into one big, great idea.
Okay.
One, every celebrity and every successful person, for that matter, has a story that you don't hear about. And everyone assumes, oh, if you're a celebrity, you're an overnight success.
Right.
Oh my
You're
God, your
always
career
one.
just
Right,
took off.
right,
You have all this
right.
money. You live in a gilded tower. Everything's fantastic. And the reality behind that is many times that's not the case. So we cast celebrities that have really hard luck stories getting to where they were. So for example, Darius Rucker had his band. They toured playing very small fraternities and clubs for over 10 years.
Okay.
And it was a freak thing that happened. They had a friend who worked at a radio station in New York who played one of their singles. Just so happened David Letterman was driving in his car listening to that station at the time, loved the song, pulled over his car, called his booking agent and said, I just heard this group, Hootie and the Blowfish, get them on the show immediately.
Wow.
They were on the show 2 days later, and all of a sudden their career blows up. They get a record deal, and the rest is history. And then he had a second life as a country star, which he is today, you know, selling millions of albums and doing incredibly well. So you don't hear those stories.
No,
so we thought it would be interesting to take somebody like Darius, and now he's playing sold-out stadiums, and having him go back to remember what it was like at the beginning of your career, and pretending that you're someone who's just starting over. Maybe you're a teacher, you've always really wanted to sing, and now you're going to meet aspiring people that are trying to make their way into the music business, and they're going to give you their advice on how to make it.
Oh, wow.
So it scratches a lot of the itches that the traditional format of Undercover Boss touches, but it has the extra little beat of having a little talent show in the middle of it as well, which is the second part of it. There's all these talent shows on the air. They do incredibly well. America's Got Talent, The Voice, American Idol. They go on and on and on. And I think, and all those shows are fantastic, and they're excellently produced, and it's amazing. I think the thing that's a little bit different about our show is, you know, everyone who goes onto that show is very conscious that they're going on a show, and they're thinking the whole time, how am I going to be edited? What am I going to say the right thing? Am I going to do the right thing? When people come onto our show, they have no idea what the show is. They have no idea that it's for a major broadcaster. They have no idea who they're meeting with and what it's all about. So it's that, in essence, you're going on an audition not realizing that the person that you're talking to and interacting with is someone that can change your life forever in a moment. And that's the thing that's really special.
And it is a moment.
That's the thing that's really special about the celebrity version, is these two worlds colliding, and incredible people, you know, incredibly talented, but also that have incredible hearts and are doing, you know, amazing things to give back in their community. So it you know, it works on many different levels.
And I know there's many celebrities, you know, that you probably have talked to and all that, but the people that are unknowns, is there any particular one that kind of hit you that they got a chance to, be a star?
Oh yeah, there's a. If you want to answer,
I mean, there's a couple. I mean, in our first episode of this season, we had Gabby Douglas, which aired, and so, you know, there is you're taking Gabby and we're bringing whether it's a gym for. We found a gym that helps underprivileged kids and is bringing them through this gymnastics program, and they're paying everything out of pocket. They're doing all this stuff, but I mean, it's bringing Gabby back to a place from where she started, but also maybe it's a gymnast that she sees a little bit of herself in, with the parents who are sacrificing it all, and kind of touches Gabby in a way, because Gabby just had her mom who is giving all this stuff to her, and she sees, you know, the involvement of the parents, and it really kind of touches her in a way to give back to them. So there's many different things. That there's an episode coming up, and I won't reveal too much, but it's really out of it. It's a Deion Sanders.
You have to watch it.
Yeah, you have to watch it. The next episode this Friday is Deion Sanders, and there's something that's you assimilate him with football, and there's something in there that is completely not football related, but really gripping.
I think that's fabulous how you mesh two completely different worlds, so to speak.
Yeah.
Into the rising star.
Yeah, and it's very complicated to cast because we're casting we can't reveal anything. Right. So we're casting for a show that has no name with a network that doesn't exist.
You mean if I ask your family, tell me a little something, they won't do it.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Pink, we love
No.
you, but I ain't gonna know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. Okay.
They like Dad, that Dad's working still, and if that happens, Dad might not be working.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, so when we reach out to these people,
Right.
we're kind of telling them that we're doing this documentary, and we can't reveal anything. We can't tell them we can't tell them there's a prize. We can't tell them anything.
Right.
And so we're really counting on them to trust us, and
Yes.
we want to help and
That's what
give
you
you a
were saying
launching
about
pad.
trust.
And that's
Yeah.
what Greg
Yeah.
touched on. It's a whole trust thing from the ground level of casting
Right.
all the way through the top of production
I
to
see
when it
that.
airs and
I see
after.
that.
How many episodes are you doing this season? Season 9.
This season we're doing 8.
Okay.
And we're in the middle of the run right now, and we're going to announce, I think, within the next couple days, the remainder of the cast and who's on. So I can't talk about the rest of the people, unfortunately.
Another,
Well,
to
I can
be.
tease.
Yeah.
I can tease you a little bit. And
Okay.
say
Good. Please
got-
do.
Yeah,
We
please.
were hoping you would do that.
We've got an amazing singer who's won all kinds of awards, has sold over 30 million albums.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Who used to live out of a van. I mean, amazing, a household name, an amazing story. We've got someone who runs one of the biggest sports empires imaginable.
Yeah, in the world.
We've got, trying to think how to describe this next person, but an icon in fashion and in modeling
Oh,
that's
wow.
revolutionized the world of fashion and modeling.
Well, talking about that, how do you? I mean, you guys got to be up like all day, all night. How do you think of people to go to get these people? I mean, really. I mean, the world is a big place. How do you think about it? I mean, you have to start somewhere. Well,
terms of the
What's your wish
Yes.
list
Yeah.
in any program?
Well, on any program or for
Yeah.
Undercover Boss or both?
For your program.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, have you ever had people that you absolutely were convinced would be a great show, and they said, "We'll pass," without naming them?
Oh, it happens all the time.
It does.
does.
And what
unfortunately.
would the reason be? I mean, to me, it would be, wow, yes.
What an opportunity!
I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, well, it's a big time commitment. So it's 5 consecutive days.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's an
that's
ask.
pretty much 24/7. So it's when you see celebrities that do most shows,
Right.
And if it's not an extended run like Dancing with the Stars, if you're doing a one-off, it's usually a 1 or 2 at most 2-day commitment. 5 days is a
long
long
time.
time.
It is
Yeah.
a lot, right? Out of a life of someone who
right.
is big in the company and
Right,
stuff like
and then
that,
you've
yeah.
got the normal concerns. How am I going to be portrayed? Which usually we can show them the show and they feel better about it. But then
But one of the aspects of your show that we noticed, I mean, it's very obvious when you're watching that it's not all without blemish. That
Yes.
there are times when employees do not live anywhere close to what customer service should be, and the CEO has to decide: do I blow it and fire him now,
Yeah, I
or
mean-
do I go back to the board and say we have to do a better job?
What was
Right.
it? When one of them said, "Well, I'm just doing this because I'm selling marijuana on the side."
I
or
mean,
something."
it just,
was like,
you
hello.
know. Yeah,
I mean, everybody must have
You-
went, "Wow."
You had a program with a woman who said to the undercover boss,
Yeah.
I'm only here because I need a job, but if you can send my resume to anyone, please do.
right.
And he didn't fire her. He was still undercover and he left, but I'm sure it made an indelible impression.
Oh, sure. And there was one restaurant episode, I won't name it, but anyone
Okay.
can easily Google it, where the employee was talking about how he wanted to punch customers.
Yes.
in the
Yes.
face.
I remember
yes,
seeing
yes.
that, yeah.
Oh my.
And the boss did a great job
Yeah.
and made a call right there in the moment of
Yeah.
gotta get rid of
Right.
this guy.
Yeah.
We can't
But
have people
it
like
was
this working
truthful.
at the company.
You
Yeah,
see, what you
absolutely.
do,
Yeah.
an undercover boss,
Yeah.
it's real. How do I
Oh.
say it? You're doing.
You know it's not scripted. It
Right,
can't be.
There's no sugarcoat.
It
Right.
can't be.
You can't
Yeah.
sugarcoat it all.
we have an expression in Jewish. It's called a mitzvah. So to me, you're doing a mitzvah, which is a good deed
Yeah.
for people, because it's showing all aspects of what's out there with the American people.
Right, right. One of the fast food shows that was on Undercover Boss, it got so bad that he actually shut the place down. And he
Which
sent
one
everyone
was- which one
home.
was that one?
I don't remember. I don't want to mention it because
But all I can tell you is, and he said, okay, we're done. Close it, turn out the lights. We got to fix this before we open up again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love
And that's,
that.
that's admitting there are some blemishes, but we're going to make it right.
Right.
So-
And also, having the guts to acknowledge it and
Yes.
fix it in the moment.
Well, when you interview these corporate people, what do you look for? I mean, here you come into this huge building that this corporate person owns and runs, and he has thousands and thousands of people under him. I mean, and you're talking to them on a one-on-one. What do you look for in these big guys?
You look for someone that has a compelling story of how they
Okay.
made it and how they got to where they are today. You look for someone who's articulate and a good storyteller. You look for someone that has some kind of a journey that they need to go on, and that you feel like is doing this for the right reasons. You don't want
There you go.
someone
There
who's
you go.
doing it just to be on television.
Exactly.
There you
You
go.
just want to promote the company.
That's it,
You
yeah.
want someone who really wants to embrace
Correct.
the journey and be
Right.
a part of it, and that that takes some sussing out sometimes.
Now,
Yeah.
have you ever walked away from, say, your first interview with someone and said, I don't know, I
All the
don't know
time.
whether
Yeah.
okay,
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
we're very, very selective.
And now, when you decide that you don't want someone, you just tell them up front. In other words, I don't think it's going to work, or it's just talking about the big boys.
Well, it's all different.
Okay.
I never like to 100% close the door because you never know when
Okay.
a network's going to call
Correct.
up and
Or
say,
he can be bought out.
Right.
or that.
Or that, right.
So we usually, punt a little bit,
Okay.
and which is the truth, because just about everyone we interview, whether we like them or not, goes in
Right.
front of the network at a certain point, and they weigh in as our partners and have a great say on who gets in the show. So it's a longer process, and eventually, we'll let people know if it's not going to work out.
It's one of the great things in life to be able to do well by doing good. And,
Right.
as I've been a chaplain, as you know, for 55 years, and to be able to reach out, and sometimes we play switchboard. It's just
Yeah.
plugging in the right people. And if someone watches a program and sees an undercover boss donating $50,000 to research for autism, or
Right.
to work with some charity, some disease-fighting organization, and you had a part of that, that has to be really the gratification must be wonderful.
Absolutely, and to inspire everybody else
Yes.
too. I mean, you don't have to have $50,000, $100,000 to make a difference.
Correct.
Everybody can make a difference.
Right.
everybody can volunteer an hour or two a week,
Yeah.
and inspire everybody else.
One of your
to
shows
pay
a
it
few
forward.
years ago, if I recall, had a man who, in his free time, worked in a church with a food pantry. And the company, which was in the food business, decided, what a great model. Let's take this across the country.
Yes.
Oh.
And they did, and it's really saving lives because of that program.
Absolutely.
We never would have known as the public. I patronized the store because I appreciate what they did.
Absolutely, and these are unfortunately the stories that you never hear about on
Correct,
the news.
right.
Everything is so negative, and everything that's wrong with this country, and everything has to be about clickbait. But the truth is, there's an amazing amount of people. You two guys are part of the amazing group of people that are doing all these amazing things throughout the country. There's a lot of us out there
Yes,
doing
there
these
is.
things that aren't celebrated, that go unnoticed. And if our show can play a little bit of part in that and telling some of those stories and inspiring other people, we're extremely lucky.
I have to ask you, the costumes, quote unquote, that your undercover bosses wear, okay, who puts them together? I mean, from hair to what to wear? I mean, you have someone that's,
I'll let Rich answer that. I mean, we had with the regular version, there's a way we do it, and then on the celebrity version, there's a whole other
Oh,
way. But
okay.
I'll let
The
Rich-
celebrity version, there's because they're so recognizable. I mean, we have a Hollywood team come in and about 3 weeks out from the shoot date, do a full prosthetic mold to get everything, because we want to take away characteristics that make them noticeable. Some of these
Right.
characteristics are what people identify, and they can say, "Oh my gosh, it's Idina Menzel. Like they know, but
Right,
there's
right.
as she has certain features that it make her instantly recognizable. So we have a Hollywood makeup team and prosthetic team come
okay.
in and do the full
Totally
treatment. It's
disguise
hours.
them,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, it's hours, and they do the full mold. And I mean, if you're claustrophobic,
You're in
get ready.
trouble.
Yeah, you're in trouble. But
Yeah.
and they put these, and then they have to make duplicates because they're out there. It's not like a Hollywood set where
Right.
every 5 minutes you stop down and you touch up and you make up. They're out there in the trenches with somebody, and they could be lifting heavy equipment or do
wait a
anything.
minute. Or with the waste management, I don't know how he got into that mucky water.
they
whatever
were
it
bull-
was.
they were bulldozing
I'm
the
going,
remnants
Oh
of-
my God! I wouldn't do that for the world. I don't care what happens. Even if I had glamorous pink boots, I mean, it was unreal.
Like you would not be in any pink.
No,
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right. That would be a
complete
complete.
You mean, nix that out right away.
We'd actually have your team make her look like Martin Landau. Okay, and then she could get away with it.
Very.
He won an Academy Award, you know.
No, I don't think so either. You're very funny. What was your background when you first started? College
I
or-
grew up in L.A.
Okay.
So I had no desire at all.
You're the guy.
I'm the guy.
Everybody else we know came from somewhere.
And there's a reason for that, because anyone who grows up in LA will tell you that
Yeah.
this is a crazy, crazy
Oh,
business
yes.
to be
Oh,
in.
yes. Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot better things to go into.
Right.
So I went to University of Pennsylvania. I was
Oh.
pre-med. I went to med school for a year. I was going to be a doctor. And when I was in med school, I
Oh, my-
realized I just was not passionate about the medicine.
Your
And
mother
there- and
must
there's-
have cried for hours. My son, the doctor, is now my son, the.
You have no idea. Typical Jewish
know.
mom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was
Yeah.
that phone
Oh,
call.
yeah.
I still get
Oh,
chills
my
from that
Lord.
phone call.
Yeah.
Greg, you're ruining your life.
Your life. You could be a
What is it?
doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do I tell my Mahjong girl?
Yeah, but the last line that she said to you, I'm guessing, was what was said to Shelley Berman. Whatever you do, don't change your name.
Yeah.
Well, in this town, there's a lot worse names to have than Goldman as
Yes.
a producer. So I moved back to LA and started like Rich. You start at the bottom,
Yes,
you pay
yes,
your
you
dues,
do.
you work your
Right.
way up. I was an assistant, I was a PA, I did everything you can do producing. Just learning on the fly. And eventually did a number of shows, got a huge amount of experience, worked at the ABC television network, oversaw a bunch of shows, and now I'm doing what I'm doing.
What was your, and I'll ask this one because I know time is going on. What was your, and where did you get it? This creative juice that gave you this gut instinct, Greg, that gave you the idea to do this type of a show? Had to come from somewhere. It came from you, and I think it's fabulous.
For Undercover Boss, I can't take credit. It came from a gentleman and our partner, Stephen Lambert.
Okay.
who's
Hi,
the-
Stephen.
Hello, Stephen.
Thank you so much.
He's the Lambert in Studio Lambert.
Okay.
He's one of the most prolific creators of television
Wow.
content in the world. He's created a number of formats that have sold all over the world. So, but I think where these ideas come from, they come from things you experience in your life, and you think, how can you take that little seedling of something that's important and grow it into something that's a much bigger tree.
Ladies and gentlemen, my wonderful audience out there, I'm looking at two good-looking gentlemen with brains, and I'm looking at people.
You mean they're not just a pretty face?
No, they're
Oh,
not.
okay.
And really and truly, they have a program that touches not only our minds but our hearts, and that's what I think really, really makes Undercover Boss such a phenomenal show. And may you have many, many more seasons. May we all be around to see the many, many more seasons. That's what I say at almost 86 years young. And I think about 95, maybe we'll do something, where we'll get it together. But
That's when your schedule clears
yes,
up.
Thank you. I thank you, Greg Goldman. I thank you, Rich Leist. As I said, Dove and I are so proud that when we knew we were going to have you on. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know where the time
That was
Oh, my goodness.
You're listening to Pink.
A wacky, wonderful woman lives in this pink house. She decorates in pink. She dresses in pink. And she thinks pink.
Hi, I'm Jackie Goldberg, known as the Pink Lady, and I help motivate people with my seminars called Get Up, Get Out, and Get a Life. My philosophy of life is called Think Pink, and it's your attitude that's going to give you the initiative, the feeling, the courage to get up, to get out, and to get a life.
Everybody said, you've got to meet this person. She's outstanding. She's amazing.
I think pink is a perfect color for her because it's vibrant, and she is.
She speaks from her heart, speaks with experience on how to reinvent your life.
It is more important than the past, than education, than money. It will make or break a company. Reinvent it should be in every one of your vocabularies from now on.
Everybody needs a little bit of an inspiration. Everybody, and when I say everybody, I'm saying it's an ageless program that she offers.
They have to realize that you are still viable people. That energy, that passion, that comes across. There is a life out there.
We're not any longer thinking we're at the end of our life, coming on the downhill slope, but that our life is just beginning, and that's what Jackie brings.
Age does not negate sexuality. If anything, it enhances it in all of us. You are all a very sexy, very sensual, young senior.
To transform your life, your relationships, or your business, contact Jackie Goldberg so she can help you
get up, get out, and get a life.
At 76 years young, Jackie Goldberg is known to many as the Pink Lady.
Actually, it started 40 years ago. I was a sales rep, and I was walking down the hallway one day, and someone yelled, "Hey, Pink Lady!" And my husband, who was a marketing genius, said, "Do you want to be known in our business?"
You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.
Welcome back to the Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till You Say It's Over. We talk about angels all the time, and they're not all in heaven. There are lots of angels that are running around singing and entertaining the world. And today, I am blessed with to have a lovely, lovely angel, Sarah, with us. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's pronounced Lonsert, exactly
Lonsert.
like concert with an L.
Which is an appropriate...
Right,
yes.
right.
And I know that you flew in to be on our show last night from Boston.
Thank you so much.
And we are thrilled.
Thank you. I was thrilled with that.
Mhm.
So, Sarah, you began singing at 9.
Yes.
And that was...
A week and a half ago.
A week and a half ago.
It's a week and a half ago. I'm just
No,
newly 9.
I told her when I
Just
met her.
tall for your
Right,
age.
no, I told Sarah when I met her, when I grow up, I want to be like her. But what Sarah did was, she discovered that you have what they call high functioning autism. Am I correct?
Yes.
And God bless you for talking about this to help others. And they discovered that when you were what, 9, 10?
Yeah, I was in the 3rd grade, and there was always something very off about me. You can, if you ever, for some strange reason, go through my videos, my old home videos, 90s home videos, okay. I'm a completely different person. I don't talk. I rock everywhere, and when I do want to talk, it's screaming or it's singing at somebody, and it's very, very standard textbook now.
Right.
high functioning autism. But back then in the 90s, everyone was like, your child is possessed with Satan, and you know,
right,
may the
right.
power of Christ compel you,
Right.
sort of thing. Like
Right,
they
right.
didn't know what was going on, so they all just thought I was a bad kid. And I was finally diagnosed in the 3rd grade, which is very late nowadays.
Yes.
But I was in the guinea pig sort of group when they were just discovering sort of what how autism worked, and the spectrum was being created. So I was in the guinea pig group where I went to every single therapy.
But the singing was what helped you.
Yeah.
And you got to the point that, from what I'm understanding, you've been in Europe singing
Yes.
all over. What, France, Germany, Italy?
Yes,
And-
Russia.
Right. Oh, Russia. Okay.
Russia.
And also something different that I found out when I'm reading about it. You study the Torah as
Yes.
a Christian, and tell us about that.
I actually sort of, I'm going to be really honest, I sort of fell into that.
Okay.
All throughout my life, I always was, I'm sort of like, I'm a seeker. I look for little highlights of truth, or like the flame, if you want to call it that
Right,
way. And
right.
I'm pretty sure artists out there will understand what I'm talking about, because
Right.
like when you hear a certain song or you read a certain book or whatever, there's a spark of fire. That's within that content. And I was cast in a musical called Let There Be Light, written by
Danny.
Yes,
Yes.
Donnie Mossing.
Okay.
And I was cast in this performance. And actually, the funny story was that was the very last audition that I took. In about a month of auditioning nonstop, 2
Right.
auditions a day, and I got none of them. And I told my mother, I said, no, this is the last. If I don't get this audition, I'm quitting. Obviously, this is not
Really?
something that I need to do with my
No,
life.
I get it.
So I went into that audition. Lo and behold, 2 hours after I walked out,
got
I get
it.
the phone call.
Yes, yes,
And I'm like, oh
yes.
my god.
Have you
So-
connected with Danny here in Hollywood?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm his. Yes, I study with him.
Because
and
in Broadway, he did Fire and Ice and
Yes.
sang A Return Again.
Yes.
And we've had the pleasure of going to where he sings on Friday night and be part of
Yeah.
that. So he's Danny Messing, just amazing.
Yeah, so I go and I study with him on a daily basis,
Great.
and I actually sing with him at Kol Me, first Friday of the month. I sing
Okay.
with him.
Fabulous.
And so it started out, I got cast in Let There Be Light, and it was at this big temple. And I didn't know anything about the Jewish faith, and all of a sudden it just surprised me to see, the 12 tribes of, Joseph and his brothers. And I'm
Right.
like, excuse me, why are these people who are in my Bible
Right.
in this temple,
I
Right.
love
in
it.
this place? And I was like, explain to me, good sir, what is going on?
Right.
And
And he
sort of
did.
how-
And he
that's-
did.
That's
And he did.
exactly how it happened. I
Right.
was just like, this makes no sense. I need some sort of clarification.
But then it did make sense.
And then it makes sense.
I would like to share your absolutely phenomenal voice with our audience today.
And I want to tell our audience something. If you happen to live in Southern California and you're available on June the 9th, which is the Saturday before Flag Day, the Los Angeles National Cemetery is going to have a huge, it's called a retirement ceremony, Ride to Your Flag. And the featured performer at that ceremony will be Sarah Lonsert, who will open the program and
Right.
perform during the program.
And also on June 8th at Post 43
Yes.
at 8 o'clock, you can also see our charming guest today.
Right.
So right now, the song that she wrote.
Yes.
That's-
And would you mind if I told the story behind
Please do.
why? Okay.
That's
Okay.
why you're here.
That's
Tell us.
why I'm
Tell us.
here. I am sitting here to
Okay.
tell you things. So this song that I chose to sing for you is called I Will Rise. And a while back there was this whole entire #MeToo movement. I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember that. It was kind of a big deal.
Right.
But this was back before Facebook, back before social media was a thing it was. And I was a young kid in middle school, and I had my little #MeToo moment happen to me in middle school. And with how I think, and I didn't really know how to comprehend what had happened to me. And so I used what I knew best. I used music because music was the only way that I knew that I could actually.
That was your therapy.
Yeah, I was like, I can only express myself through music. Music's the only thing that gets me at this point in my life, and it still is basically one of the only things that really gets me. But I wrote this song to help me cope with where I was, and you might think with that it's a very dark song, but it's not. It comes along with saying, you know, I walk past things that I'm fearing because, and I'm in this really dark place, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I want my voice to be heard. I will rise through all of this, and I will become a better person.
Let's listen to Miss Sarah.
Lonsert.
Do I stand here?
Whichever you like.
Great.
Your choice, Ricky.
Walking down the streets, passing millions of faces, they'll all disappear without any traces, feeling so alone and confused, so unimportant and used, wanting to be seen and wishing to be heard. I won't be deferred. I will rise through it all. I won't let myself fall. I'm gonna shout out loud, and I won't be turned, 'cause I wanna be heard. Walking past things that I fear, I'm wondering if life will become clear. Choices to be made and places to go. My mind might just overflow. I'm scared and unsure, don't know what to do, but I'll make it through. I will rise through it all. I won't let myself fall. I'm gonna shout out loud, and I won't be turned, 'cause I wanna be heard. I wanna be heard. Turn, 'cause I wanna be heard. I will rise through it all. I won't let myself fall. I'm gonna shout out loud, and I won't be turned. I'm gonna follow my heart, and I won't be burned, 'cause God bless America, the land that I love. beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, my sweet home. And God bless America, the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, and God bless America. And God bless America. It's our home, our sweet home.
And God bless you, my darling.
One of the reasons that you are a favorite at American Legion Hollywood Post 43 is because of what you just heard her do.
I wish I had.
Mm.
I wish I had. And Sarah, I wish I had a 2-hour show. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till You Say It's Over. See you next week. Thank you. God bless you. Oh, wow. Yeah.
You're listening to Pink Lady Presents, only on LA Talk Radio.